features and the basic features of a QTP. So in this session we will be discussing on what we'll be discussing about a automation tool that is called a QTP. It's a product of a HP company. Okay, the current version in the QTP, the current version of QTP is HP UFT 11.5, which got released recently. So it's HP UFT is a combination of a QTP test professional and service test. The QTP is a QuickTest Professional, which is used for a functional and regressional testing, and the service test is used for a API testing or a web service testing. Now, what the QTP HP has done is they have combined both the tools in one, and they release the version as a HP UFT Unified Functional Testing Tool. So based on the license, so you will be able to enable the functionality of the tool. So if you are purchasing the license of the QTP, then you will be able to work on the QTP side of the HP UFT. If you are buying the license of a service test, then you can access only the service test related application from the HP UFT. When you download the HP UFT from the HP site, so you will be getting a 30 days freeware for HP UFT, so which works only for the QTP. You will not be getting the service test. So below are the some new features which are included in the HP UFT 11.5 version, that we can say as a QTP 11.5 version. The HP UFT IDE, it's an integrated development environment, supports to work on multiple tests at the same time, and this IDE supports for editing more than one action at the same time. Okay, so QTP 11.5 IDE has improved the statement completion, improved dynamic list of values, code folding, and code snippets. So if you have seen the QTP version earlier, and if you see HP UFT, it is entirely different in the GUI wise. The IDE is totally different. If you have seen the Eclipse, it is more looks like a Eclipse only. Earlier, it's like a window-based application, but however, it's a window-based application only. But the look and feel of the QTP has been entirely changed in 11.5 version. Okay, these are the new features which are included in the HP UFT 11.5, and the browser supported in the HP 11.5 is Internet Explorer 9 is included, and Mozilla Firefox from the version 4 to the version 10. Okay, you can even Google Chrome is also used for a playback support. Okay, and increased and improved support for a Delphi, Oracle 11G, PeopleSoft 8.5, and Office, SAP CRM. These are some of the supports are increased in this 11.5 version. Some checkpoints are also increased. The features of the 11.5 are also increased with respect to the checkpoints. Okay. So what is this automation tool is all about? We will see now. So QTP is a QuickTest Professional tool. It is earlier it was, when it was started, it was a product of a Mercury company, and later it has been taken over by HP after 8.2 version. So then, since from when the QTP has been taken over by the HP, it has been improved a lot from UI to the support level. Okay, so why QTP is required? So what is the use of a QTP? QTP is a QuickTest Professional for automate the functional test cases and as a regressional test cases. So first we need to understand what is the software testing to work on the automation testing side. So we have to be knowledgeable on the, we should have a basic knowledge on the software testing side. So what is a regression testing? Okay, so what is the regression testing is here is, what is the functional testing is? So in the functional testing we will be verifying the functionality of a specific function in the application. Okay, so there are a lot of functions, similar kind of functions will be there. Okay, lot of functions will be there in the web-based application or a window-based application when a software is been built. So if there are any versions are there, okay, if the project is in a maintenance part, then there are any enhancements is there. So you need to execute the same test case again and again. Okay, whereas the version releases are there, so that time we need to run the test cases manually again and again. So when you run the same test case again and again manually, so that time you will not be able to achieve the execution completion in small time. Okay, the product has to go to the market very soon, but you'll not be completing the execution of the test cases in a short time. So to complete that one, you may need more resource or more time with respect to manual test case execution. If you implement an automation concept to that process, manual test case process, then the time constraint will be removed. So in a very less time, you can execute more number of test case precisely. Okay, so what these were the drawbacks of the manual testing. Manual testing is time consuming, tedious, and requires heavy investment in human resources. The time constraints often make it impossible to manually test every feature thoroughly. So it becomes very difficult when you've been asked to execute 1,000 test cases in a certain time. Okay, so if you have implemented a automation tool for your project, it becomes very simple to execute 1,000 test cases in a very less time. So if you are considering 1,000 test cases to be executed in 10 days by the 10 people, if you have implemented automation testing on your project using a QTP, then it takes less than 10 days and even takes a less resource. So there it comes the advantage of the automation testing. It is fast, repeatable, reusable, reliable, and comprehensive. Why it is fast is it runs the test significantly faster than the human resources. So a human resource might be taking a 5 minutes to execute a one test case, but automation tool takes less than what a human resource takes. If human resource is taking a 5 minutes to execute one test case, that QTP takes less than, in 5 minutes QTP executes more than one test case. It can be more than one means it could be 5, 6, 7. Okay. Why it is repeatable? The testers can test how the website or a software reacts after repeated execution of the same operation. So what here repeatable means the tester can test how the website or a software reacts after repeated execution of the same operation. A user can repeat the same operation again and again without interacting with the application. He can record and keep the script in the QTP and he can play back the script. And the reusable. The test can be reused on a different version of the software. The script which is developed in the version 1 can be used in the version 2 without any issues. If there are no any changes in the objects and the object names, okay, those can be used. So when it comes to the next version of the execution, then there is no need to execute the same test case manually. Then just to play back the script which you recorded or which you prepared for the manual test case. That there it comes the reusability. And reliable. Why it is reliable is whatever the actions that you performed on the application, that those only the actions that will be recorded in the script, and it performs the whatever you done on the application. It will not do apart from what you done. Okay, the steps what you performed on the application, the same steps will be recorded in the QTP. Okay, and when you play back, it does the same thing. It will not deviate from the steps that you performed on the application. There it comes to the reliability. Test performs precisely the same operation each time they are run, thereby eliminating the human errors. So while we execute manually, we may do some mistakes. Okay, so when you perform automation testing, then there won't be any mistake. So while preparing, you might be doing some mistakes, the scripts, but we will make sure that the scripts are perfect when next time it is done. Right. So there it comes the reliability. So whatever the actions that you performed on application, those will be executed precisely. Comprehensive. So what is this comprehensive means? You can build the test suites for the test cases which are built for a manual regression test cases. Those test suites can be executed on a different versions of the application. So these are the benefits of an automation testing. Okay. Now when we come to the QTP, so what are all there in the QTP? So that we will see in the coming slides. So in this slides we will see like introduction to the QTP and add-in manager, and what are all there in the QTP and QTP test process, and what are the recording modes are available, and what is the object hierarchy. Okay. The QuickTest Professional is a HP's advanced keyword-driven testing tool used for automation, functional automation. Okay. So it has the features that allows the end user to create, debug, and run automated tests and analyze the results. So this is the normal test flow of QTP. So first we will be creating the test environment. What it is required to automate the application. First the environment should be ready. We should have a system. The system should have a QTP installed, and it should have a supporting browser, either Mozilla or Internet Explorer, and you should have an internet connection, and you should have an access to the application. So there this entire thing will be done in the create part. So in the create part you will be recording your scripts based on your manual test cases. After creating, we will be coming into the debug mode. So after creating and recording your script, you will debug. You debug in the sense you will play back the script that you recorded to check whether it is running perfectly. Whatever you done on the application, no? Whether it is doing the same or not. And again you run the automated test and analyze the results. In the debugging mode, what you will do is again you will do the enhancements of the script. Enhancements of the script in the sense you will be doing the parameterization, adding the checkpoints, adding the verification points, reading the output values, passing the output value from one action to the other action. So all those will be doing in the debug mode, and you will run the scripts that you prepared. And after the execution of the test, you will analyze the results. Based on the results, you will be sending the status of the suit. You will be sending the status of the execution result, either it is a pass or a fail. If it is a fail, so you will be detailedly mentioning where it is failed, why it is failed, so reason for the failure and if the failure is genuine, you will create a defect in the defect tracking tool. And QTP uses the VB script for developing a test scripts. That means when you record an action on a web-based application or a Windows-based application, QTP generates a VB script. Okay. QTP 10 supports the following browsers: Internet Explorer, Mozilla Browser, Mozilla Firefox, and Netscape. So QTP 10 supports the following OSs: Win2K. So it's a Windows-based, purely it's a Windows-based Windows OS application. So it won't work on a Linux OS. It works on only Windows OS. So what does QTP enable? Okay, QTP enables you to automate the testing of standard Windows application. You can web objects, ActiveX controls, and visual-based applications. Many more are there. So to automate other applications, what is required? So you can also acquire additional QuickTest add-ins for a number of special environments. Suppose, so in the standard Windows application, web objects, ActiveX controls, and visual applications. Apart from this, in this IT world, we have so many applications: .NET application, Oracle application, SAP application, .NET. So many are there. So to work on those, we need to have a special add-ins to be added in the QuickTest Professional. So those add-ins won't come freely. So those need to be purchased from the HP. Okay, if your application is built on SAP solutions, then you should have a SAP add-in to your QTP. Why these add-ins are required? We will see. Can we automate the testing of all the applications QTP? Yes, we can't assume that QTP will directly compatible with the application under test. Why it is saying that? Why we can't assume it? We can't assume that. Why? Because QTP, when you take a trial version, you will be having the ActiveX and QWeb and standard Windows application by default. By default, these are the default add-ins. But your application is built in a SAP solutions or Oracle apps. Then QTP fails to identify the elements in the application under test. To identify those elements in the application, you need to have a special add-ins. Okay, we need to access whether the objects in the application are being identified by QTP as a standard objects. For that, you need to have a add-in. Okay, so we need to access the whether objects in the application are being identified by QTP as a standard objects. For all standard objects, QTP uses the standard methods to perform desired action or task. In some cases, QTP is concerned in identifying the objects correctly. One of the cause for this is the fact that right add-in may not be loaded. Okay, so when you start the QTP, you will be coming across this screen. So this screen is called as a add-in manager. If you here you see the default add-ins are ActiveX, Visual Basic, and the web. Okay, suppose here we will see the in detail. When QuickTest opens, you can choose which of the installed add-ins you want to load using the QTP Test Professional. Okay, so types of add-ins: built-in add-ins, WebEx and ActiveX and VB. External add-ins are .NET, Java, and SAP. Okay, why these are external means you need to purchase these. It won't come with the trial version. If you want to work on the Java, .NET application, or if you want to work on the Java based application, and the objects need to be identified standard as a standard objects, then you should have these add-ins to be installed in the QTP. Okay. Use of the add-ins enables. So what is the use of add-ins here? The creation and the execution of the tests on application is variety of development environments. Okay, the proper identification to identify the objects properly and to identify the methods of the objects, we need to have a add-in manager to be installed for the respective technology application. Okay, so first we will see how does it look like when we launch the QTP. Here you see this is the add-in manager screen. When it is been launched, you will be coming across this screen, and you have to make sure that which add-in you want to select. Okay, these are the check boxes. You can select whichever it is required for your application. And if your application is developed in Java or .NET, you should have those add-ins to in the QTest Professional. And so how QTP works? First we'll understand how QTP works before we proceed with the features in the QTP. QTP identifies each and every element in the application as an object with certain set of properties and operations. Okay, so it works on a object. It identifies each and every element in the application as an object. So what is an object here? An object is an element present in the application with a certain set of properties and methods. Methods are nothing but operations that can be performed on the application. Okay. Okay. When you launch the QTP, you will be coming across this screen. So there are two views available in the QTP: keyword view and a expert view. Okay. So first I will explain the what are the objects. So how QTP identifies the objects. So here is an object concept called object identification. Now we will just, for example, we will take a web-based environment. in the web-based environment, what will be there? Most of the time when you see in a web-based application, what you will see in the web-based application? You will be seeing a browser. So browser could be Internet Explorer, Mozilla, or Netscape, or Opera, anything. And you will be seeing the image, you will be seeing links, you will be seeing the pages, okay, buttons. Just understand what you normally see. You can see the check boxes, text boxes. Okay, so these are all predefined. These are the predefined object classes in the QTP. So when you load or record, what the QTP does is, it, for example, we will take this web edit. So web edit is nothing but a text box in the web-based application. The text box in the web-based application is identified by QTP as a web edit, and when you load, when you record an action on a text box in a QTP, it reads the property values of HTML tag and name. These are the identification properties of a web edit. So we are deciding in the QTP that take these two values, property values from the application to identify the object, web edit object uniquely. Okay, you can add more identification parts. You can add more identification parts to any object. Okay, these many are there. Okay, these many are the object properties. You can add it. So what are these properties? What are the is exactly? For example, if you consider an object like a car is an object, okay, to identify it as a car only, how will you identify? By seeing it by seeing it, we can say that it's a car. Okay, so there are four wheels, steering will be there, color, nameplate, everything will be there. So these are all the properties of an object to identify it as an object, car object. Okay, so similarly there are another vehicle is there with the four wheels, it's a jeep or a lorry. So how do you identify? By seeing the, it's a physical structure is different and the naming is different. Okay, if in case if the two, for example, assume that there are two cars with the same name. Okay, the same name. Okay, then how will you identify those cars? Okay, you will be identifying those cars using proper ordinal identifier concept. There is a concept called ordinal identifiers. Okay, object identification. Here you see ordinal identifiers. What this ordinal identifier does is, it identifies the location of the object. So we will be using the index, ordinal identifier, location, or a creation time. See, this creation time is only applicable for the browser object class. It is not applicable for other object classes. This creation time is only applicable for browser object class. Okay, the rest all will be having only index and a location. Okay. Okay, so when there are if you see similar kind of objects, then it is good to go with the ordinal identifier to identify the object uniquely in the application under test. Okay, it is based on the index or a location. The index might be different for the two objects with the same name, same property. Okay, in the application. So how QTP works? So when you record an action on an application, so what it does is, it stores the objects in the object repository. So which is a, object repository is a heart of a QTP application. So it stores the objects in the object repository with the properties and the property values. Okay, now I will show you with an example. For example, I take with the demo application which is given by the QTP for a Windows based application for time being. Okay, I will close the application. Here I'll stop the script. Now we got the script in the expert view. The expert view will display the script which got generated during the recording. That will be in a VB script format. You can use the VB script to enhance this script furthermore, like means parameterizing the input values. Here are the input values are here in this script. What are the input values? Demo and the password are the input values. We can pass any number of input values over here. Okay. Now here you see when I recorded this script. Okay. When I play back again, how it plays back. You see. Okay, it launched the application, it entered the username and the password, and it clicked on the OK button, and it is waiting for the application to load it, and it clicked on the close cross button. That means it closed the Windows application. Whatever we done on the application while recording, so it repeated the same thing. That is where it comes the precise. It is a reusable, repeatable. Okay. So how it identified the application, and how it is identifying the text box, how it is identifying the web button. Okay, so those are all done. Okay, so when you recorded the script, no, it stored the objects in the object repository with the object properties and object names. Here you see. Okay, every object is stored in the object repository. So what is this? The login is the frame name dialog. Okay, here the class is dialog, and it has got a some properties. Text, native class, is own window, is child window. Okay, these are the properties, and these are the property values to identify the object. Okay, you, you can have any number of properties in the description properties to identify the object uniquely. Okay, but preferred is have a less objects so that QTP runs faster. If you add more properties to identify the object, it takes more time to identify the object. Okay, and for the this is a dialog object class. Now when it comes to the agent name is the username field, so it is taking the two properties, native class and attached text. So what is the attached text is the agent name. When the application was there, that is the agent name, and it is identifying the username field with the native class property edit. The property name value is edit, and attached text is agent name. So these, when the objects are stored in the object repository, those will become a test objects. Those are called as test objects. So when you play back the script, it is identifying these properties in the application under test. So when you play back this, the application becomes a runtime object. The objects which are present in the application, those will become a runtime objects. That means those are called as a runtime objects. So when you play back, so it compares the test objects with the runtime objects. If there is a mismatch, then it will throw an error message stating this object is not found. If it is successful, then it will continue execution. Okay. For example, now we will see. Just I will remove the colon over here. Okay. Now I'll play back the script. We'll see will the script will run successfully or not. If QTP is taking more time to identify the object, means it is in the failure region. It fails. Okay. If it is able to identify the object in seconds, then it's good that we are able to QTP is able to identify the object. Now it is taking more time to identify the object. If it is taking the more time, in the sense it is doing all the calculation which it has to do to identify the object with respect to the properties available in the object repository. Now it is saying that cannot identify the object or agent name. So verify that this object's properties matches an object currently displayed in the application. That means whatever it is there, it is not matching with respect to this one. Okay, here if you see, Here it is not matching. In the object repository, it is comparing the property value. Okay, here this agent name colon is there, but in the object repository it is been modified. It is been modified, that like it is been removed. The property value is modified. Here the colon is removed. That is why it failed to identify the object. Now if you see, just I will click on the highlight button. Okay, it is able to identify. Give me a second. How will it identify a window or a dialog if two instances of same applications are open? Then it will fail. It will fail. Now here you see, it will not identify. It fails to identify if the similar type of applications are available. Now I have kept this window, login window, open. Okay. Again I will play back the script. When I play back the script, again one more window will be launched with the login screen. Okay. Okay, that time it will fail to identify the object. It will say multiple, it will give an error. Now here you see it is not running. Okay, so we have to make sure that our script should be very smart enough before we run our script. Now here you see I kept the application open here, right? Cannot identify the object flight reservation. Okay, I'll show you from the beginning. Okay. Here I kept the one instance of the login application open, okay, manually, okay, and one instant will be opened during a run session. Okay. Now here you see two login windows are there. So now QTP is failing to identify which one to take. Now QTP is failing to identify which object. So which dialog box should be considered to proceed its execution. So we have to, the script should be smart enough before we run our we run our script. We have to make sure that it should be closed. All the Windows based should be closed, or all instance will be, instead of the window based application or web based application should be closed, or else we can use another method, or we can use another method is creation time. If it is a web based application, we can use it. So for window based application, multiple browsers, same application, we can't use it, but for a web based application, using a creation time ordinal identifier, we can work on a multiple browsers using a creation time. The creation time in the sense that the launching of the application. Now I will launch Explorer, IE Explorer. So that time when it is launched, it's a launched first. Okay, it's a Google. Okay, now I launch IE Explorer again. Now I launch Yahoo. Okay. Now I launch Rediff. So when we launch, when multiple browsers are there, so if you want to work on a multiple browsers, then you should use the creation time ordinal identifier. Okay, to identify the application uniquely. Okay, and moreover, and QTP doesn't support the tabbed version. Here it won't support the tab version of the Internet Explorer. The tab version should be disabled. Okay, so that is all about the object repository, which stores the object in the object repository as a test object On the runtime, it compares the objects in the application under test. The objects which are present in the application, those are called as a runtime objects. Okay. In our we at testing, we at QA testing training will be covering most of the topics in the QTP from the basic to the advanced. From recording and playback to the from to the till the descriptive programming. Okay, we will be covering what is the fundamentals of automation testing. So overview on the QTP add-in manager concepts. Okay, automation testing process, how the process starts. As I explained, create, process. Okay, enhance, debug, run. Each and every process will be explained through an example. Okay, so each and every topic will be covered with an example with respect to web-based application and window-based application. You can go through this course content from our website. Okay, each and every topic will be covered with an example with a real-time scenario, and it will be covered with the FAQs. Okay, so that you can understand how the objects will be identified differently in a window-based application and web-based application. And okay, so that is all about the QTP's object repository. And there are two types of repositories are there: local repository and shared repository. Okay, so about that we will discuss in the training in detail. So we will discuss more in detail on local repository and shared object repository. Okay, for example, if you want to see how how objects will be available in the how QTP identifies the web-based objects. Okay, let me show you how QTP identifies web-based objects. I'll I'm recording an action. I'm going to record some action on a web-based application in the using a Internet Explorer. Here you see I'm logging into the Gmail application. We'll stop the script here. Now here you see how it is different from Windows-based application and web-based application. The hierarchy of the web-based application is different than Windows-based application. In the web-based application, you will be seeing, okay, you will be seeing browser, page, and then the object in the application. But in the window-based application, you will be seeing only two: the window name and the object name. Window and object. But here in this web-based application, it is one step ahead. The parent in the hierarchy, here you can see the page, then what is there in the page, on which object in the page you will be performing the action. And we will be learning each and every object in detail during the training session. We'll see someone has posted a question over here. Let's see what is the question. I recently installed QTP on my laptop. When I clicking on the record button and perform some action, those are not getting recorded. Expert view remains blank. What's the reason? So Kamal, I think Which version of the IE Explorer using? IE8. So did you disable the tabbed version in your tool Internet Explorer? And moreover, while working on the QTP, you have to make sure that QTP should be launched first. Later, you should launch the Internet Explorer. If you launch the Internet Explorer first and you launch the QTP and try to record, it will not identify the objects in the application. You should make sure that your tabbed version in the Internet Explorer tools is disabled. Okay, how it is? Where it will be this? Go to the tools, Internet options. Okay, in the general settings tab, you will be having this tabbed browser settings. Just uncheck that. Okay, and the security, uncheck this enable protected mode. Then your QTP starts to identify the objects in the application. So what was the issue, Kamal? Try once and recording the action on the web-based application. So if it's still not identifying, so then we can sort it out. You can mail us, so we'll clear your doubt. The the uniqueness of the QTP is QTP is able to identify. You can use for a Windows-based application, but Selenium doesn't support the Windows-based application. If you want to see in detail more on that one, I'll show you. Okay, Selenium is free of cost. QTP is a licensed version, and okay, it's it's support in additional about the additional plugins. You'll get the free plugins from the Selenium, but in the QTP you need to purchase those licenses from the QTP. And if you want to implement an automation on web-based application using Selenium, you should be an expert in any one of the programming language that it is supporting, either Java, Ruby, Perl, anything that is there. Okay, and QTP requires a very less effort comparing to the Selenium automation testing. Okay, these are the differences that you can see over here on the screen. Okay, here you see the Selenium. In some part, QTP Selenium plays the upper hand, and in some place QTP plays the upper hand. But I say QTP plays more bigger role in the automation world than comparing to the Selenium. Any more questions from all of you? In our training, okay, so the basic steps to master the QTP, what you have to do is first you understand what is the software. Yes, we can trigger the QTP directly from the QC. Okay, so this is a step-by-step process to master the QTP. Understand what is the software testing all about, and understand what is the regression testing. Understand need of automation testing in your project. Okay, then download when you are trying to learn from the beginning. Download the QTP tutorial. Go through the tutorial or the document which we will be sharing during the training process. You go through the training step by step and understand the concepts and get clear about your doubts on the day or from the trainer. So we will be available 24/7 to help you out. Okay, so download the QTP download demo version which is of 30 days trial, and have use the student handbook provided in the QTP help. Okay, and practice the samples given in the application. Okay, then the major part in this QTP is a VB script. VB script is the major which plays the major role in automating your application. So you can record and playback. That is not a big deal over here. But enhancing your script based on your requirement is the big role. So that enhancement will be done using the which is the now it's 11 is the 10 is the standard version. Now people are switching directly to the 11.5, that is a HP UFT. Companies are directly shifting to the 11.5. Okay, so at QA testing, trainers discussion style is little different than others. Each topic in the course content will be explained using an example from the web-based application and as well as from the Windows-based application. After each class, we will share the trainer will be sharing the scripts created in the class so that the trainee can practice on the same day. He can understand. If the script is not been shared to you, if you try to execute, in case sometimes if you fail to understand, then you can refer the script shared by the trainee on the same day. After each class, you will be given the assignments on the day's topic, and classes will not be continued unless trainee is not clear. So unless the trainee is not clear on the topic on the day, the classes will not be continued. Means continued in this, he will be cleared on his doubts. He will not be proceeded. Okay. Trainees will be given full support even after training through email support, or you can post your queries on the discussion. Okay. Detailed course materials will be given on the topic basis, and we will give an access to the videos even after the course completion for the 30 days. You can refer the videos. And if we have more students in our class, we will divide them in the teams and we'll give the task to them to work on. And we have a one-to-one discussion classes with the